I never thought I would outlive my own son. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children, but life has its own cruel plans. My son, Daniel, was my pride. Smart, kind, and hardworking. He was married to Clara, a woman I never truly got along with. She was charming in public, but behind closed doors, her eyes held a kind of coldness that always made me uneasy. When Daniel suddenly passed away in a car accident, my world shattered. He left behind his grieving daughter, Lily, my sweet granddaughter, and his wife, Clara. I thought, at the very least, we would grieve together as a family. But instead, I was pushed aside. 3 days after the funeral, I was packing away some of Daniel's things in his study. I wanted to keep a few personal items, his old watch, his college trophy, even the sweater he always wore during winter. That's when Clara stormed in. Her voice was sharp. "What are you doing here? This isn't your house. You need to leave." Today, I stared at her in disbelief. "Clara, this is my son's home. My granddaughter lives here. I just lost him." But she cut me off, her arms crossed. "Exactly. He's gone. Which means this is my house now, not yours. I don't want you here. You're nothing but dead weight." Her words stung deeper than any wound. I wanted to fight back. But when Lily walked in and saw her mother glaring at me, I stayed silent. I didn't want my granddaughter to witness a shouting match. I left that evening with just a suitcase in hand. Homeless, alone, grieving. A week later, I received a call from Daniel's lawyer. There would be a will reading at his office, and I was required to attend. I didn't have much hope. I assumed Daniel left everything to Clara and Lily, which made sense. He loved them. What place would there be for an old man like me in his plans? When I entered the office, Clara was already there, dressed in black but with her lips painted bright red, as though the funeral had already faded from her mind. She barely looked at me. The lawyer, Mr. Jennings, began reading. "I, Daniel Harris, being of sound mind, leave my assets and possessions as follows." At first, it was what I expected. Clara would inherit the house and joint savings account. Lily's education fund was secured. Clara smirked, clearly satisfied. But then Mr. Jennings paused, cleared his throat, and continued. "To my father, Richard Harris, I leave my company shares, my personal investments, and control over my trust fund until Lily reaches adulthood. I trust my father to look after what I built and to protect my daughter's future." The room went silent. Clara's face turned pale, then red. "What? That's ridiculous," she shouted. "Those investments are mine now. He was my husband." The room went silent. Clara's face turned pale, then red. "What? That's ridiculous," she shouted. "Those investments are mine now. He was my husband." But the lawyer shook his head firmly. "No, Mrs. Harris. Your husband's instructions are crystal clear. His father is the executor and trustee. Nothing can override that I sat there frozen, barely able to breathe. Daniel had entrusted me with his life's work, his legacy, and most importantly, his daughter's future." The moment the meeting ended, Clara lunged toward me, her voice dripping with venom. "This isn't over, old man. You think you've won?" "Daniel loved me. He wanted me to have everything. You manipulated him." I looked at her calmly and said, "Daniel knew you, Clara. He knew exactly who you were. That's why he trusted me instead." She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. For the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't felt since Daniel's death. Hope. That night, Lily called me. Her little voice trembled. "Grandpa, Mommy's mad. She says you stole her money." My heart broke. This child had already lost her father, and now she was caught between a bitter mother and a grieving grandfather. "Sweetheart," I said gently, "your daddy left me something very important. Not for me, but for you. Everything I have now is to make sure you grow up safe, happy, and taken care of. Do you understand?" There was silence, then a soft sniffle. "I want to live with you, Grandpa." Mommy only yells. Tears rolled down my cheeks. That was the moment I knew I couldn't just be a trustee. I had to be a shield. Of course, Clara didn't sit quietly. She tried everything, contesting the will, painting me as an unstable old man, even threatening to cut me off from Lily. But Daniel had prepared well. His will was airtight. Every lawyer Clara hired told her the same thing. She couldn't touch Daniel's trust without my consent. Still, the battle raged for months. Each time we stood in court, I saw Clara's mask slip further. She wasn't grieving her husband. She was grieving the money she didn't get. The judge saw it too. And in the end, Clara was granted custody of Lily, but with strict supervision of finances. I was ordered to remain the sole trustee of Daniel's assets. Clara's hands were tied. One evening, I visited Lily. She ran into my arms, laughing for the first time in months. Clara sat in the corner, scowling as we played. After dinner, Clara muttered, "Enjoy it while it lasts, old man. You won't be around forever." I looked her straight in the eye and replied, "That's why Daniel made sure Lily's future wouldn't depend on you. And when I'm gone, she'll inherit everything directly. You'll never touch a cent." The color drained from her face. For once, she had no words. Sometimes I still wake up at night, aching for my son. But when I see Lily smile, I know Daniel is watching over us. He gave me one last mission in life, to protect his daughter. I lost my son, but I will not lose my granddaughter. And as long as I breathe, I'll honor his trust. Because at the end of the day, money fades. Houses crumble. But family is the true legacy we leave behind.